you're probably going to need to start or maybe one appointment, you're going to need to at least start doing some of the presentation, at least make sure you're telling your personal story, things of that nature. So you have to be intentional, not just, hey, all right, cool, we got this appointment set up, let's get on, get off, got the sale, on to the next one. That's not how it should be during field training. So you got to be intentional with everything that you're doing, with the recruit, the focus, the reasons why you're doing those presentations. Stay in the qualified market. So if you don't qualify the list, you're going to be on a lot of bad appointments. So you got to qualify the market, and stay in that qualified market as long as possible. When you go in those training appointments, make sure that you're asking for referrals. And when you ask for referrals, don't just ask for anybody. Don't just be like, hey, yeah, I just need 10 people. I need 10 people for Lilix and her training. I need 10 people that are either married, couples, or have kids. That's the best type of people that we work with. Yes, we can provide education to single people, but we want to make sure that Lilix is going to get the best training situation when we go on these appointments. So we would prefer for people to be in those categories. So you want to stay in that qualified market as long as possible, because the recruit also needs to remain in a qualified market. So that's huge. And don't do one-legged appointments. That's one thing. I didn't write that on here, but definitely don't do one-legged appointments. Don't teach your recruit to do one-legged appointments. If I do a one-legged appointment, if I get on an appointment and the spouse isn't there, I'm going to ask, even as awkward as it's going to be, hey, Josh, is Lilix coming? I thought you guys said that you guys both were going to be available. Oh, she's like off with the kids, Josh Jr., and he has an upset stomach, so she has to be over there. Okay, well, do you think that she's going to be able to come over and sit in at least? Because in order for Bao to get... Robert, can you mute your... Thank you. In order for who was I using? Bao to get credit for this training, we would need both of you guys to listen in. Is that possible tonight, do you think? And see if they can get the other person to come over. Oh, let me go talk to her. Let me see, maybe we can, I don't know, whatever it is, find a solution to the situation. If not, hey, I think that we're probably just gonna have to do it on a different day. Is there a better time that we can reschedule? Because you don't want to get into the habit of wasting your time, right? And Shaq's talked about this multiple times. So always make sure that if there's a couple you're making sure that you're doing the appointment with both people. Next thing is I always make sure that my recruit knows they got to do 10 appointments ASAP, as soon as possible, right? So Josh said set 5 to 10 every single week. Great. If we set 5 to 10, we're not going to do all 10 probably, right? If we know the numbers, but they need to know that they're not just only needing to do a couple appointments. So complete those 10 right away. You can do your 10 in 3 days, right? Set a bunch of appointments these next 3 days. You can do your 10 over the next course of the month, but you determine how quickly you want to do it. How quickly do you send out these text messages, right? Because, hey, I'm training multiple people. So the quicker you get appointments set, the more time in my schedule that you're going to get, right? So also like let the people that you're working with know that your time is valuable, and whoever's going to do the most or put the most effort in, that's where your time is going to go, right? So complete those 10 appointments quickly. I've had recruits within the team, they come in and they do 10 appointments in a week, or I think somebody did 17 appointments in 2 weeks, right? And that person got a huge training bonus. So like when you do those things, set expectations so people know that they can move fast. Because if they see 10 appointments right away, like they're gonna know the presentation before they get licensed. By the time they get licensed, they're good. They're gonna be able to start training and developing other people. So you gotta get into the habit of getting people on these appointments right away. Then next, you wanna make sure that you're briefing after every single appointment, right? So I think I got the word briefing from Jen. But you gotta do this after every appointment. What does this mean? You have to meet with the recruit after the appointment, okay? Listen, don't forget this one. It's absolutely the most important thing. Okay. So brief the recruit. After the training appointment, number one, prep your recruit before the appointment. Make sure they know, hey, do you have a notebook? Write down notes. What questions am I asking? How am I transitioning from slide to slide? Listen to any questions that the client asks and how I answer them. Because at the end of the appointment, I'm going to ask you those questions, right? So then after the appointment, now you're asking them, hey, tell me what you got from that presentation. What was something new that stuck out to you? What did you learn today? If for example, there were some objections that the client went over. Hey, what did I say when the client said this? And see if they knew or if they were paying attention. Because what Bruce says is if you're doing a presentation and somebody has no idea what's going on in the appointment, do you think that they're going to become an independent person? Probably not. So you have to make sure, because if you do 5 appointments with somebody and they have not picked up transitions, questions that you ask, things like that, they're probably not going to become independent. And you know that, hey, great, they can set up appointments. Maybe they can be your bird dog, and you know that they're always going to go out there and get you on appointments and take you on appointments, but you're going to have to be doing those appointments for that person all the time, right? Which is not the long-term goal, which is not how you're going to get the freedom in Primerica that you need. So that's huge. Always, always brief. And then talk about, I'll talk about that in a second. I was going to say compensation. But then repeat it back. This is something new. And I mean, not new, but I mean, you should be doing this. But Bruce has been talking to us a lot about this. And when you teach somebody something, how do you know that they know it? Only if they repeat it back to you, right? Just try it. Try it with any of your recruits. Tell them, if you're any conversation that you're having, you ask them about, okay, hey, what appointments do we have set up? Okay, cool. Or you're talking about why this person rescheduled, or okay, what are your goals? You want to do 5,000 personal this week. Okay, how many appointments do you have to set? You go through that whole process with them. Ask them. Okay, awesome, Bao. You said you want to do 5,000. How many appointments do you have to set? Cool. And have them walk through it. Okay, well then how many are those that can actually happen? And make sure that they're feeding it back to you, because if they're not feeding it back to you, they don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to them. It's not completely crystal clear in their mind. So you have to do that with everything, with setting appointments, with the presentation, with objections, with compensation, all the things that you want them to know and understand, you have to ask them to repeat it back, right? Think about if Samir or Shaq asked you guys a question and you're like, how to explain it? Then you feel some type of way and you're like, damn, I don't really think I know that. So then hopefully, like what we do, we'll try to figure it out and learn it as soon as possible. So the next time they ask me, I don't look like an idiot. So people that you're working with, they should feel that same way and want to perform and want to learn and want to get better in those situations. So you can do that after the appointment. If you guys have time and you have a big enough team, you can do things like drill for skill, because that gives you an opportunity to do it in a big group as well. And then the last thing is mastering compensation. So with that, just teaching people how to make money, right? I thought it was really cool. Josh told me this last night. He was like, I'm sending recruits when people get sales during the week or the night before. Hey, somebody got this sale. It was a $70 app. Cool. How much did they make? Right? And explaining to them, or have them explain it back. But if people understand compensation, then that's going to help them continue to be motivated to want to set more appointments, and then maybe continue to duplicate themselves, because it doesn't stop there with their compensation. What if now they understand the override compensation? Because if they understand the override compensation, they're going to want to master their presentation as soon as possible, so they can be able to teach other people the presentation and then sit back and get an override check, right? If they're not thinking about overrides, they're not going to, what's their reason to duplicate, right? What's their reason to master this stuff? So I think it's huge, guys, but field training is very, very important. And you have to be intentional in every single step in order for all the hard work as far as recruiting this person, prospecting first, going out and getting all the no's, getting someone to say yes, completing the whole orientation, this is important because this is where it's going to start to pan out in your business.
Gotta give them that briefing. Gotta give them that briefing before they go into the grocery store, right? And then you gotta do a debriefing after the QA. Like if anybody had a crazy mother like I did, she told me, hey, before we go up in this store, I want to tell you something. Don't ask for nothing. Don't look at nothing. Okay? That's how you got to be with the new recruit before you do all your QAs. Listen, before I do, when I ask a question, if it's a question you hear me ask, write it down. I don't care if you understand or not. Just write it down. And afterwards, you know, like Shondell said, what did I say? When they ask this, blah, 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 blah. Right? And so like that's like the devil is in the details. That is like one of the smaller things that are vital to creating a district leader, is those little briefings. Now we're getting towards the finished product. What did we go from? We went from orientation, setting our targets, direction determines destination, no limiting beliefs, to now we're in the thrills of field training. We're on the appointments, we're questioning, we're getting answers, we're getting results, they're watching. Okay, this right here, this is about 40 to 50, 60 days into the process, okay? 40 to 50, right here, this is 40 to 50, max 60 days in the process. There's a $2 million earner in Georgia that actually came and did a fast start meeting for our hierarchy. And I'm having a brain fart, so someone help me out.
Sam Shepard.
Oh yeah, Sam Shepard came and did a fast start meeting for us, and he said, I've got 3 stages of training someone: coded, competent, cut off. So let's assume the first 30 days is focusing on getting you coded. That's your field training and you getting licensed. First 30 days, coded. The second 20 days, the next 20 days, that's like 40, 50, right? Total days. We're getting you competent. And I'm inspecting what I expect out of you. Sure, you just watched me do it 20 times, but you're still not quite where you need to be yet. So I need to inspect what I expect. Hey, tell me how you respond. No. Tell me what's the transition question from the first slide where we set the expectations, excitement, value, partnership, to the next slide where we're going over the statistics. What's that transition question? I don't know. You don't know? Well, that's not good. The transition question is, by the way, has anyone done any professional financial work for you recently? Oh, that's right. That's the transition question. And why is that so important? And whatever reason they give, right? Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, but that right there is the epitome of inspecting what you expect. Right? What's the question, the really important question at the compound interest slide that we ask before we start getting into what compound interest actually is? What's that really important question? Is $200 a lot of money? in general? Oh, right. That's the question. Why do we ask that? Why is it so important? Because we want to know if they have a budget, a little one or a rather loose budget, right? That's why. That's correct. You're exactly right. Now you're on the right track. I love that. You're going to be an incredible trainer. You're going to kill it. These questions that you're asking, Donald, these are called power questions. And questions pull people in, right, Donald? And statements push people away. You're going to be amazing, Donald. This is what inspecting what you expect sounds like. This is why we've been able to promote, and we're not moving fast enough, but we've been able to promote Marin, who's thoroughly independent, Marquita and Adarian, right? We're working on a brand new leg right now. So that's what it sounds like. That's what it looks like. And your practice and drilling and rehearsing towards the tail end of their training. Hey, hop on a Zoom with me. And if they're the right person, they're asking, can you hop on a Zoom with them? Like Marquita and Adarian, they're constantly saying, like, this is Adarian. He knows what I'm talking about. Like, Josh, hey, Josh, listen, hey, Josh, I need you to hop on Zoom with me. I need you to go through the recruiting presentation with me, Josh. That's how he sounds. And I'm like, all right, cool, perfect. That's what we want. And then I'll get on and I'll say, okay, I'm ready whenever you are. And he'll be like, oh, so you wanted me to do it? Yeah, that's what I want you to do. I want you to do it. I'm practice, I'm drilling, and I'm rehearsing with him. He's doing it on me. No, Adarian, you skipped the step. You went from the licensing requirements straight into the IBA. You're supposed to let them ask you questions and answer questions before you go into the IBA. You skipped the step, Adarian, but everything else sounds perfect. That's PDR. That's practice, drill, rehearse. And that's all, folks. That's 0 to district leader in 60 days. It's truly a 3-step process. And just remember, you are responsible to your team, but not for your team. Okay? You're responsible to your team, but not for your team. You see, you're responsible for your child, but you are not recruiting children, guys. These are adults. These are adults who have told you they have come here for individualized goals. Okay? And it's up to them to follow your system. And did we just go through a system? Yes. Like literally from start to finish. Step 1, step 2, and step 3. That's called a system. And it's up to them to choose whether they want to follow it or not. Okay? So you don't have to don't blame yourself if the person's not following through with this system here. Okay? They are not the right person. Go find some new ones. So, any questions? Unmute yourselves if you have questions on this process, because we have accomplished it. Any new trainers, any people up and coming who has a question, ask it.